Hey folks, we are here on the GameSpot stage just getting set up for our next demo. It's a PSN demo, one of the downloadable titles for the PlayStation Network, and if you are a PlayStation Network user and are familiar with a lot of the games that's come out there, you will certainly recognize the name PixelJunk. Now, the PixelJunk series is known for a diverse array of gameplay types and experiences, and we're going to see two new ones here on the stage show today. Isn't that right?
It is right.
My guest joining me from Sony Santa Monica has brought not one but two, and what are the titles?
Actually I'm from Q Games. So.
Q Games.
Yeah.
So sorry,
Yeah,
we haven't been properly introduced because you're just getting set up. I'm Chris.
Hi, nice to be here.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Tell the folks at home your name and you're from Q Games.
Okay, the PixelJunk games come through Sony Santa Monica, but we make
you
them
guys
at Q
develop
Games.
them. Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So I'm Dylan Cuthbert, and I run Q Games over in Kyoto, Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you guys have been, like I said, putting out a lot of real interesting, diverse games, and I'd love to hear about the first one you're going to show us.
Which one? Oh, okay, it's Lifelike, yeah. So this is PixelJunk Lifelike.
Okay.
And it's a collaboration with Bion, who we collaborated with before on PixelJunk Eden. We have a lot of fans of PixelJunk Eden now. It's very arty, sort of musical sort of game.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and as you sort of go, the art and music would change as your experience progressed.
And then plants grow and stuff, yeah. In this particular thing we've made is kind of a experimental sort of soundscape game.
Okay.
Where you sort of sculpt your own music as you play with the Move. It's a Move exclusive, by the way.
Oh, that sounds.
So yeah.
So you're holding a Move controller.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a visual element, and how does it? You start off. How does it begin? Like if I take the Move controller, I sit down to play Lifelike. What's the first thing I'm going to see on screen?
The first thing you'll see is like a sort of strange amoeba pattern. And as you start moving the controller around and bringing in other tracks and playing one-shot sounds and playing with like DSP effects on each of the sounds, you'll start creating your own your own voyage through the sounds.
So you're playing with sound in this soundscape. Now we're seeing this. Is this the amoeba you speak of on screen?
This is part of it. It's grown a bit at the moment.
Yes. All right.
We call it Lifelike because they kind of grow as you play the game.
So as the player has grown it to here, what are the different colors, the different concentric rings? Are those different audio elements represented visually?
Basically, they react to there's basically 4 tracks of sound, and they react to the 4 tracks and react to how you're controlling the 4 tracks of sound as well. Mm-hmm. And you can bring in like backing tracks onto the 4 tracks, or you can play one shots. You can like just fiddle with it. You just play. So you have like we have what we call a virtual sound or a virtual sound canvas.
Okay.
Which is the entire space in front of you
that you're moving the controller through.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And you can twist the controller. You can like move it up a bit to the right, you can move it down, and every time you move it, it changes the sound slightly.
And so as you move it around, I imagine you get a sense for how moving through this canvas in front of you really affects, if I go up here, the tempo might pick up a little, or...
Basically, it kind of changes the texture of the sound, I suppose. And you kind of play with like very subtle textures in the sound. It's very experimental. It's like, it's kind of a club performance simulator.
Oh, really?
So Brian is normally a DJ, and he's actually a multimedia artist in Kyoto, but every week he also DJs as well.
Yes.
And we wanted to take his experience of like DJing in a club and somehow give it to everybody else, everyone who owns a PS3 and a Move, and they can actually really experience what he experiences when he's like mixing music and stuff.
Yes, because the club experience isn't just standing there listening to music, it's all the lights that are going on around and the different, like you said, the texture of the sound coming out of the speakers, because digital music gives us such an array of ways to manipulate the sound.
Exactly. And especially on the PS3, there was a very unused feature of it, which is this audio DSP feature, where you can apply like lots of effects and stuff onto. You can apply a hell of a lot because of the SPUs in the PS3. So we're kind of using that to the full extent. I haven't seen anybody use it before, so we thought, well, let's just try and push it a bit, see how far we can go with it.
So taking that tool that maybe not the most, not the most user-friendly or accessible, plaything, and trying to turn it into something like that. Turn it into something where you're really, sort of at the core, you're flexing the hardware of your PlayStation, but you're also, exploring it in a creative and definitely unique way.
Yeah, well, you can just play with it. It's like a toy almost. So it's pretty cool to play with.
Very cool. Now I think we are live here on stage, folks, and we are taking your questions. Sorry.
Is Bion actually in the feed yet?
Oh yeah, we've been jumping a little back and forth, but let's go and check him out now because you can see he's sort of keeping time. With the Move controller now. It seems he's clearly moving to a rhythm.
He's basically probably brought in many tracks and stuff. Oh, you can hear it a bit coming in now, but he's probably bringing in tracks and like playing one shot to the beat and playing with the disc. He's playing with the disc now.
Now you folks at home are hearing it better than we are because we're up on the stage. So we
can hear it a little bit now.
Yeah, we. Okay, so that thumping beat.
Yeah.
Which corresponds. You can see the visual elements representing the beat as well, but also that thumping is kind of migrating through the different concentric rings.
Yeah, it's almost like a spiritual type of effect. It's a very mesmerizing effect.
So in terms of this kind of gameplay experience, is this something when you pick up the Move to play it? What are you doing it to relax? Are you doing it to
relax?
Yeah.
It's very. I don't know. You can really get into the zone with it. Anybody can play it. And for example, when I show people who haven't played it before, they'll pick it up and they'll start doing it, and they'll be on it for like an hour without realizing.
Oh, really?
Just playing around and just creating their own like sound, just making all these really crazy like effects like blend with each other, and
as they
really
sort of
like painting almost.
Yeah, as they explore this whole new thing. It's not, instead of grabbing the colors from the paint tray, you're moving up here to pull up the sound, or moving over there.
You kind of blend them together as well. So it's not just like one sound. It's like they all kind of blend and swirl together. As you can sort of see him. You can hear it a little bit now, but he's kind of like swirling the sounds together and switching.
Now, so obviously the sound is we have a visual representation here, but none of these are visual prompts. None of these are put the Move here, swing the Move like this.
It's not a rhythm action game.
No. So the visuals are sort of fueled by the music, but basically
by your movements.
Your experience is I'm moving the controller, I'm changing the soundscape, and I'm getting visual feedback as a result.
Yeah. That's it. And one of the key things in this is you'll also be able to broadcast live to your friends as well. So if you're playing in the privacy of your home, your bedroom or your living room or whatever, they can just tune into you, and they'll see they'll see the same visuals and hear the same same sound,
music, but
sound.
You'll be conducting
it basically. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So you're basically it's kind of like a spectator mode in in other games that may have appeared on the console, but you're like a concert goer. You're tuning into what your friends are doing.
A club goer,
or a club goer. Yeah, and you could, your friend could be just messing around at home doing that. You've got the lights down, and you're rocking out.
We also want to make it so your friend wouldn't even know you're listening in.
So we wouldn't get self-conscious.
Anybody can come listen in. Yeah. I mean, we're going to probably add feedback as well to like say whether so you can hear the audience. Like it's almost like you can tell what the audience is thinking about
so
what
you
you're
can
doing.
feel that swell of energy if they're liking it.
You want to add things to do that, so then you kind of go with the the flow and you start like building up the tension and the music.
Well, PixelJunk Lifelike certainly a novel new experience and something it sort of seems like you really want to get your hands on and experiment with.
Very good fun.
To believe. Now, this is just one of the PixelJunk games you've brought by today, so let's transition to the next one. Why don't you introduce what we're going to see next?
PixelJunk SideScroller.
SideScroller, okay. A word that's a little more familiar.
Yes. It's kind of like it's like a retro sort of ultra retro cousin of PixelJunk Shooter, but the gameplay is actually completely different. It's a full-on old school side-scrolling shoot 'em up.
Okay.
Yeah, and when we were making PixelJunk Shooter and Shooter 2, we really wanted we kind of discovered the urge to make a normal side-scrolling shooting game.
Mm-hmm.
And we slipped.
As opposed to one that was more, freedom of motion around the map. The double stick shooter, yes.
So we actually slipped in a stage at the end of Shooter 2, which is kind of like that, and it's like a small like prelude.
Okay.
Was that SideScroller.
Was that partially you guys sort of seeing what the reaction was to that?
Yeah. People seem to like it a lot, so we thought, well, okay, that's
all right. That's a good
something we want to make, so let's make it. And we've made it as like a little sub-story in the PixelJunk Shooter universe.
Okay.
So this isn't actually part of the story of Shooter. It's the game that the survivors in PixelJunk Shooter are playing on their little mini computer.
Oh, really?
On their pod home to Earth. So they're flying back to Earth, and so
sort of get you really in that tiny little pod.
So the whole design is like this sort of old school sort of monitor effect. This screen is kind of zoomed in. That one over there you can see it a bit more, but it really looks like it's bulbous.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it looks like looks like what you've got over there is an old arcade machine, with the big sort of.
It really does. If you folks can picture, I'm not sure if your feed will show it either.
Yeah.
But picture an old CRT monitor. The glass is not flat; it bulges out, and therefore you sort of get this collapse on the very edges. It pinches in. It really has that effect, and it almost kind of pops out.
Exactly. It looks 3D, doesn't it?
Yeah. Of course, he's not actually wearing glasses while he's doing it, but it sort of does that. It does pop.
So we've had a lot of people walk by and they kind of like do a double take. They think, why have you got an old monitor on your stand or on your
what happened to that big plasma you had there?
Yeah. And they go, no, this is the really cool. It's a really cool effect. It's really retro.
And so we're seeing it's a similar. Similar fluid physics that are so prevalent in Shooter.
Yeah, but the rules are slightly different. There's no heating up of your ship. It's just a simple damage system. So if you hit the magma, you die instantly. If you get hit by a missile, you'll lose like 1 bit of your health.
Yeah, if you see in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the health bar. It looks, or maybe I'm not spotting it right. I just saw a yellow bar.
And then. The other cool thing about this is it has upgradable weapons, and also you can freely select between different weapons. So right now, he was firing like a machine gun type weapon.
Yep.
And it's upgraded to the 2nd level, and he's just upgraded it there. So now it's like a spread shot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And also doing that little sort of spin move.
Yeah. If you push L1, you can charge the spin up, and then when you let go, you can like spin attack against other creatures.
Now,
the enemies.
So that's something. Do I correctly recognize that from Shooter that was in there?
Yeah, you'll recognize it. But in Shooter, it was more of a technique. In this, it's like a standard part of the sort of your sort of equipment. So you just hold down L1 to do it.
And are we getting any other guns inspired by Shooter, or just inspired by the whole retro?
It's just the retro.
Retro
shooters. Yeah,
I see some homing missiles.
Yeah, these are missiles. You can upgrade these as well. So you get like firing like a whole barrage of like 5 missiles and stuff. And there's a laser shot as well, which kind of goes through all the enemies in one shot. And also there'll be the really big bosses at the end of the stages. You have to like knock out all the parts, just like an old, an old side-scrolling shooting game.
So was that, what was that just sort of a nostalgic drive, or you guys, that kind of gameplay is timeless. It holds up. And it's still fun to maneuver nimbly and blast the heck out of all these things they're trying to blast you.
I wanted to play one, and I looked on PSN, XBA, or whatever, and I didn't see any modern remakes or modern versions of like side-scrolling shooters. So I thought, let's make one. So,
Excellent. Well, so PixelJunk SideScroller, in PixelJunk Shooter there was competitive multiplayer. You had some sort of multiple people involved.
Right,
Is there anything like that in SideScroller? It's simultaneous?
In SideScroller, there is only 2-player co-op. So you can play 2 players playing through. So.
All right, and what about, I see a score up at the top there, online leaderboards?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Very cool.
People really enjoy it though. It's actually beautiful to behold. When you're playing it, like all the bright colors and sort of neon style.
And of course, a retro audio soundtrack to go with it, I bet.
But we've got the same musicians from PixelJunk Shooter in, and they've done an amazing job of remixing all the sounds and music, and they've remixed them in such a way that it's kind of retro, and all that like kind of like noise and weird samples. And so it's a brilliant soundtrack.
Well, it's been a thrill to see these new PixelJunk projects in action. When can you tell us when folks are going to be able to download these?
Before the end of the year.
Right.
We're rushing. We're really trying to finish them up. So as soon as we can. Basically.
Well, good luck to you finishing them up, and thank you so much for bringing them by.
Yeah, it's nice speaking to you.
That was a pleasure.
Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Two PixelJunk games. One very familiar, one very unique, and hope you enjoyed that look.